You ready for some heads to explode? I have the man who is top of class in political commentary, Bill Maher. How is the old school liberal who says the Democratic Party left him in its woke wake more relevant than ever? And is it true? Is he about to meet the man he criticizes most of all? Bill Maher headed to the White House? For reals? Let's get after it.
In today's video, we're breaking down two explosive conversations that cut through the political noise. Bill Maher and Gavin Newsom aren't pulling punches. While most play it safe in echo chambers and cancel culture land, these two do the unthinkable, speak truth and cross enemy lines. Maher calls out the madness on both the left and the right. Newsom? He's sitting down with guys like Steve Bannon and Charlie Kirk and catching fire from his own party for it. Why? Because they both know the Democratic brand is cracked, and fake unity won't fix it. From woke overdrive to California's regulation nightmare, and even plastic silently poisoning our bodies while politicians play blame games, this isn't theater. This is what's really happening. So if you're done with the circus and ready for truth, let's talk.
John Fetterman was in the news today. He said, you're talking about the Democratic Party, he said, if we don't get our shit together, we're going to be a permanent minority. Doing something about it. I applaud it. I think it's great. You've got this podcast. You're talking to people. You know, it's amazing to me that even that is controversial to some people. They call it platforming. If you talk to someone you don't agree with.
Yeah.
I feel like this country is divided into owners and healers. People who think you can own the other side. Yeah, well, Gavin Newsom owned DeSantis. Yeah. DeSantis destroyed Gavin Newsom. Yeah. Or people who want to talk and heal. And I feel like the next president's going to be, at least if it comes from this party, the Democratic Party, someone who wants to talk and heal. And I feel like we're doing that.
It's really been interesting, the reaction to the podcast. I mean, we had some controversial figures on, I'll acknowledge that, and Steve Bannon, Charlie Kirk, and some others. But you're right. I mean, this idea that we can't even have a conversation with the other side.
You have to. They won.
Thank you. That's it. Bottom line. And by the way, or the notion we just have to continue to talk to ourselves or we're in the same damn echo chamber. These guys are crushing us. The Democratic brand is toxic right now. We had a high water mark 2 weeks ago, and that was a CNN poll at 29% favorability. It's dropped in the NBC poll down to 27%. It's one thing to make noise, but you also have to make sense. And I think with this podcast and having the opportunity to dialogue with people I disagree with, it's an opportunity to try to find common ground and not take cheap shots. I'm not looking to put a spoke in the wheel of their, or at least a crowbar in the spokes of their wheel to trip them up, to your point. And I think it's important. Democrats, we tend to be a little more judgmental than we should be. This notion of cancel culture, you've been living it. You've been on the receiving end of it for years and years and years. That's real. And Democrats need to own up to that. They've got to mature about this.
The Democratic Party isn't falling apart because of Republicans. It's collapsing from the inside. Bill Maher and Gavin Newsom are two of the only voices on the left with the guts to say it. The House is burning and leadership is still arguing over who holds the hose. Public trust is tanking. Approval ratings are in free fall. Maher doesn't sugarcoat it. The brand isn't misunderstood. It's toxic. And Newsom? He's teaching party loyalty and having real conversations, even with so-called enemies like Steve Bannon and Charlie Kirk. That alone has the woke mob melting down, screaming platforming like a slur. But let's get real. If your movement collapses the second it's challenged, it was never built to last. Maher and Newsom are done playing the purity game. They're not here for Twitter activism or safe space politics. They're trying to save democracy by doing the one thing that actually matters, engaging with the other side. They're calling out cancel culture, the obsession with ideological loyalty, and the smug elitism turning the left into a fragile echo chamber. Newsom says it straight. Democrats have become too judgmental, too isolated, too out of touch. And if they don't wake up, grow up, and start listening, they'll lose. And honestly, they'll deserve to. This isn't about coddling conservatives. It's about escaping the echo chamber before it becomes a tomb. Maher and Newsom aren't chasing clout. They're ringing the alarm because they know what's at stake, the survival of their party and the country.
But don't you think that they should be obsessed with how to do things differently? And you don't even hear them talking about it.
Well, you certainly hear Newsom talking about it. He said he's just started this podcast.
I'm sure you heard that. He said he was modeling it on what I do on Real Time. He said, I want to talk to other people. His first guest was Charlie Kirk, who could be not more be on the other side. I like this. I like the new Newsom. I've been asking for this Newsom for a long time. So I think he's a great candidate if he was more of a centrist Democrat, and he seems like he wants to be. So I think it's great, and I can't wait till Friday and talk to him.
And I can't wait to see what he says about what he's got working to make that not happen again when the fires come again.
Well, the whole thing is about this state is just so fucked with over taxes and over regulation.
Sure.
I mean, I last time he was on, I was, kidding him about the fact that I took 3 years to get my solar power turned on. Now I just had my roof redone because of the fires, because now I want a fireproof roof. 2 inspections, and you have to pay for those inspections, They're not free. And I asked this on the show last week. I see it got picked up by a lot of people. Why do I have to have inspectors looking at my roof? It's my roof. If it falls on my head, that's my problem. I don't need the government looking over my shoulder here. And this is why we can't get anything done in this state. The government is just too in our fucking business. And he was on last January, and I asked him about this and the red tape, and he had a big answer about, well, we're blah, 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 blah. Well, I'm going to find out what the exact blah, 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 blah was and see now that it's a year and 3 months later, what's been done. Because if it's nothing, that's not good enough.
It's hard for people in power to not use the power.
California's a mess, and Bill Maher isn't holding back. He rips into the bloated bureaucracy, sky-high taxes, calling out the endless red tape that turns simple things, like installing solar panels or a fireproof roof, into multi-year nightmares. Years, in a state that claims to lead on climate. Maher's point, California keeps burning, but no one wants to talk about why. Toxic burn sites, slow rebuilding, and a leadership more focused on rooftop regulations than real solutions. What we get isn't action. It's layers of rules, paid inspections, and political grandstanding. Maher's not just venting. He's exposing a leadership failure in a state that talks big but delivers little. And if this is the model for America, we've got a serious problem.
You're going to meet with the president.
I am?
So Kid Rock makes it happen. What do you think has been the response so far? What do you think it will be, and why are you doing it? Which I'm totally for, by the way, and I love it.
I get it. Well, I'm doing it because, first of all, it was presented as
a dare.
not a dare. No, just like maybe this is a beginning to heal America. No, I don't have some sort of complex where I think I can heal America. I can't. Okay, let's get that clear. I'm not going to be healing America. But if 2 guys who've been at each other for so long, I mean, it's kind of a Nixon to China thing. I have the credentials. There was nobody who was harder on Trump or more prescient about the fact that he wasn't going to leave office voluntarily than I was. I feel like I have the credentials. But they also respect me because I'm honest about the woke train to crazy town. And I don't shrink from that. And I've also lost a lot of fans for that. The woke people have left the building, and I'm willing to make that sacrifice. But it does give you a certain credibility. So I just think to meet somebody, first of all, it's an honor to be invited to the White House.
Yes, it is.
And I've already had a couple of people who I said to them, I'm just going to take it as a backhanded compliment that you glide right past the idea that little Bill Maher from Rivervale, New Jersey, just a humble kid from the suburbs, was invited for a private dinner to the White House. You glide right past that to how dare you talk to him, and that you're not impressed by it at all. I'm impressed by it a lot. I'm impressed the fuck out of it. I get to go to the White House, and yes, that is the structure of this dinner, is just let's talk. Let's talk to each other face to face. Let's not stop shouting from 3,000 miles away.
Yep, you heard that right. Bill Maher's having dinner at the White House. And no, he's not selling out, wearing an AGA hat, or suddenly turning into a Trump fanboy. This isn't about endorsement. It's about principle. Maher's been one of Trump's loudest critics for years. He warned everyone early. This guy won't leave quietly. But Maher also knows that screaming on social media isn't bridging the divide. So when the invite came, through Kid Rock, of all people, he said yes. Why? Because real, face-to-face conversations still matter more than online outrage. It's a symbolic move, but also a call-out. If he can show up, despite all of his criticism, what's everyone else's excuse? If you made it this far, you're the real one. If you're done with the noise and want more raw, no BS breakdowns, hit that subscribe, smash the like, and drop a comment. Let's keep it real and keep calling out the BS wherever it comes from. See you in the next one.